All right, you guys, welcome back to the channel. We now have multiple sigils connected to this Vatican door opening ceremony. Of course, other people discovered the original sigil, but we found another one. We're going to get into that, but before we do, a quick follow-up on yesterday's drone video about Trump. Trump is the first drone president. One of you sent me this executive order going back to 2021. Trump signed this in 2021, like a couple days before Biden took office. So this was one of his last executive orders. And basically what this executive order says is that domestic drones will now be produced in the United States. And Trump bases this on the foreign threat, national security, because he says in this executive order that, if these parts inside of these drones were made by foreign countries that we are at war with, or that are our enemies, that they could then surveil us here in the United States through that drone technology. So this is the executive order. I'll put a link of this for you guys. But essentially, this is a cover story to further advance the domestic surveillance state, which is Skynet. Now, I'm going to find some old videos that we uploaded about Skynet, because we were talking about this, weren't we? And I was ringing the alarm bells several years ago. Skynet is here. Skynet has become self-aware. Skynet. You guys probably got sick of me talking about it, but now you know why we had to talk about it, because it's all happening now. Now, based on this executive order, guess what? Trump Jr. is now perfectly poised to cash in on this new domestic drone. Well, it's an old domestic drone executive order, because they're basically saying all the parts have to be made here in the United States. And so what did Trump Jr. do? Well, he joined the executive board of Unusual Machines, which basically is going to make all the parts for domestic drones. So this is how the rich get richer. They use legislation. They get into positions of power. They use legislation that they can easily bet on and cash in on. And this is why you and I stay poor and the people in power get rich. Now, what else is going on? Well, Biden's in on this too. And the proof that the left is also in on this is that, of course, Biden could have easily embarrassed Trump and exposed him for being the very reason why we are seeing drones in the night sky, because Trump deregulated nighttime drone activity, allowing for nighttime unmanned surveillance. But Biden won't expose Trump because they're all in this together. The goal is complete law enforcement dominance. Federalized law enforcement run mostly by artificial intelligence and private security firms. This is what's happening. Now, what else is going on? What other updates do I have for you guys? Well, Trump has finally commented on Luigi Mangione, the United Healthcare killer. What did Trump have to say about this? Oh, it's shocking. And it makes you realize how out of touch he is with the people, right? Trump says that those that support Luigi have a sickness. Now, what does this suggest? This suggests that under Trump, he might support defunding Luigi, right? Because that's what's happening right now. All of his crowdfunding is being pulled. And this is against the law, because he's innocent until proven guilty. I mean, there could be some technicality. He could have been misidentified. He could have had evidence planted on him. That's why we have a court system to determine all this, and you're innocent until proven guilty. Now, chances are, if this whole thing is real, that, there would be an election, that I'm not an election, but that he would be guilty based on what the media is showing us. But I don't think any of this is real. I think this is conditioning to get the crowd going, to get Americans going against the enemy of the state. Whatever the media decides is the enemy of the state, this is what it's going to be like. Now, we saw this in the movie Idiocracy, didn't we? Remember when Joe, I think his name was in the movie, gets framed, essentially, and they throw him to the wolves. They put him in the arena. They give him this little tiny car, and he has to go up against these monster cars, and everyone's cheering in the stands, kill Joe, kill Joe, remember? Well, this is exactly what's happening now. The national media will cover something, and then the person's eaten alive by the consensus, right? So this is what it's happening here. Today it's Luigi. Tomorrow it's going to be someone else. The next day it could be you or me, right? Now, you can't defund somebody until after you prove the guilt. I mean, literally, if this guy is exonerated, he could sue some of these companies for taking action against him, discriminating against him as a criminal before he's even been convicted. Now, after the fact, if he was convicted, there are rules, and I can understand someone defunding him, right? Because you're a convicted felon, right? Or convicted murderer or whatever. But before the fact, Trump should have never said this. And this whole thing about this, he calls this a sickness. This to me says that he's setting the stage for mental health profiling based on your social media ideologies, maybe even based on who you like, who you don't like on social media, who your friends are. This could classify you as having a sickness. Now, okay, I'm armchair quarterbacking, right? Now, what would I have said if I was Trump in this situation? I would have said, there's no justification for killing, one person. There's no justification for that. But people are angry because our system is broken. And I, as president, will change that by removing the insurance middleman or drastically regulating insurance companies so that they're not making all this profit at your expense. That's what a true leader would say, right? And you're not endorsing the killing of the CEO, but you're also listening to the people and the sentiment. People are upset. So that's the update. And now we're going to get into this Vatican ritual. Now, let me check with you guys and I'll set the stage for this. This is insane. Now, this discovery, the initial discovery, the sigil of Satan, was already made by channels like Richie from Boston and others that I don't know. So you guys can go ahead and name them in the chat. And these are not endorsements of these channels. I'm simply giving credit where the credit is due, because we're not in the business of copying other people's work and trying to claim it as our own. So we're going to give this the Enter the Stars treatment. This opening of the 5 sacred portals on Christmas that was just done or is happening right now. One of the portals has already been opened, and there are 4 more to go. Now, what are we looking at here? Here it is right here, you guys. Essentially, what other people found was that when you plot out the path, these 5 doors that the Pope's going to open, they form a pattern. What is the pattern? Now, this is in order. This is not out of order. It resembles a familiar symbol. Sigil of Lucifer. Here it is right here. This is part of the sigil or seal of Lucifer. And this is well known. Everybody knows what this is. But there's something else that we found. But before we get into that, let me explain everything else surrounding this, and we're going to decode it. Now, during my examination of this Luciferian symbol, I found direct connections to the Catholic Church. You're not even going to believe this. In fact, it was the Catholic Church that first discovered this symbol. Yes. I'm also going to show you the connection to Venus today because it is associated with the planet Venus. And I'm going to show you why that is. So this is new information today, you guys. Now, this connection to the Catholic Church goes all the way back to the 12th century. And the story centers around a woman who was said to have lamented the fall of Lucifer and yearned for his restoration to heavenly rule. Here's the history right here. This is Luciferianism. And the papacy was the ones who first discovered this in the year 1234. Pope Gregory the Ninth called for a crusade against this sect who were accused of Luciferianism. Now, let me be clear here. The very symbol that has formed the shape of these opening of these doors was discovered by the Catholic Church. So here we are, full circle, 700 or something years later. Now, this sect that I mentioned was exposed by the Papal Inquisition of 1234, as you can see on your screen right now. And weirdly, there's a connection to black cats. In fact, what they're saying here is the black cats were actually first identified as evil. Now, I'm not saying black cats are evil, but part of this is where this all came from. It originated from this crusade against the Luciferians. Now, let's read this. Let's see if I can find the black cat part in here. This is insane. Now, there's a lot of stuff to research here, you guys. Church of Lucifer. Oh, wait, where are we? Wait. Here it is. We got to go in this one. So, this was the edict against the Luciferians, the woman we talked about. And here they talk about the black cats. I wanted to read this because this is the origin of the mystery behind the black cats. Let's see. Oh, okay. In his 1999 book, Classical Cats, The Rise and Fall of the Sacred Cat, historian Donald Ingalls claims that Vox in Rama, that's the name of the Catholic Church edict against Luciferianism, proclaimed that all cats to be symbols of the devil and exhorted Catholic clergy to kill cats whenever possible. This crusade of extermination against the hapless cat was waged throughout the 13th and 14th centuries, where all cats in towns and cities were rounded up and burnt alive. Ingalls further asserted that subsequent systemic extermination of cats from the cities and towns of Western Europe caused a great growth in the black rat population, which allowed for the proliferation of the plague. So when they killed all the cats, this is how the plague rose, because there was nothing to control the rats. Ingalls claims that the Vox in Rama, again, the document that went after Luciferianism, was responsible for creating the association between black cats and witchcraft in European folklore. However, the text of Vox Romana itself does not claim that all cats are satanic or contain any orders to kill cats. There is also no documentary or archaeological evidence to support the church's condemnation of cats or widespread cat killing in the time manner that is described. So I just thought you guys would like to understand where this distrust of black cats came from. This is where it originated from. Now, let's keep going here. Because the sigil that you see on your screen right now matches the portal route. It dates back to the 1400s, but wasn't recorded until the 18th century in this image here called the True Grimoire. Now, I don't want to get too deep into this stuff because we're not supposed to be looking at this stuff, but you need to see the sigils connected to the Catholic Church. This is the Wikipedia page from the Grimoire Verum, which is the Satanic Bible, essentially. And this was the first time that this symbol was written down. So, if the witch hunt for Luciferians began with the Catholic Church, how could they have made the mistake of mapping out the very seal of Satan in this opening of the portals? How did this happen? Well, we all on this channel know the answer to that. But for those that don't know the answer and are scratching your head right now going, wait a minute, this is a dead giveaway. There are some things that you're going to have to come to terms with. Now, this opening of the doors has a strange history, and I wanted to read up on it to make sure I understood what was going on. It used to happen every Jubilee year, starting in the 1300s, and then it switched to every 25 years. And sometimes it happened every 33 years. And that's all in this article here, and I'll put a link to this one as well. And they say that they started this tradition based on Jesus' words about being the gate to salvation and being like a door. And this is when this door opening ritual began in the Catholic Church. Now, each time that that they would open these doors, again, every 25 years, every Jubilee, or every 33 years, the order of the opening of the doors pretty much stayed consistent until this year. And they added another door. And this additional door is what created this new shape that you see here that matches the sigil of Satan. Now, this begs the question, right? Because if this was a new path of the doors being opened, then what was the original shape of the portal openings the last time they did this 25 years ago? And that's what we're going to show you today. This is the new information because another symbol emerges. This is the original path. And I took this right out of this article here because it says what happened in 2000. And it talks about the path. And so all I did was plot that. And you can check my work if you want. But essentially, what we came up with was this. This is the path that was opened in 2000. Starts here at St. Peter's, goes up to St. John's, which is door number 2. Then this, let's zoom these in. St. Peter's, St. Peter's. Number 2, St. John. Number 3, St. Mary's door. Number 4, St. Paul. Those 4 doors are open in order, revealing another hidden symbol. Now, we're going to talk about this symbol that you're seeing on your screen right now because there's something not right about it. It is this symbol. What is the symbol? Do you recognize it? It also appears in the sigil of Satan. So now we have 2 confirmed symbols. 2 confirmed symbols. Here's the symbol here. Now, this whole thing is the complete sigil of Satan, and this sigil down here is only part of it. Let me show that to you so that you're clear about all this. Here's the Wikipedia page that calls this the full sigil of Lucifer. Okay. And this one is one of the sigils inside of it. Just so we're clear here. And in this full sigil, you see the symbol right there. So we have ourselves a problem, don't we? Wow. Now, I wish I was making all this up, but of course I'm not. And you're welcome to check my work. But I dug deeper into this symbol because I did not know what it meant. What is this symbol? Do you guys know what the symbol is? I did not know, so I had to dig. And the closest thing I could find to this symbol was an ancient rune called the Degas rune symbol. The other one that it seemed somewhat close to was this symbol, the Othila symbol. And that's the closest that I could find. Now, this Othila symbol we had covered before because it's actually linked to Nazi symbolism. This shape is also the modern cancer ribbon. Let's look that up. Cancer awareness ribbon. Now, this is the cancer awareness ribbon, of course. And that's about the closest that I could find in modern times. But of course, the roots of this thing go back to ancient antiquity. Now, outside of everything that I just showed you, I could not find the exact shape of this symbol. It is so rare that it only appears, as you see it on your screen, inside the sigil of Lucifer. This is the only place on the entire internet that I could find this symbol, was inside of this. Now, if you guys can find it somewhere else, knock yourself out and put that in the comments section. Okay. Now, I wanted to know what the sigil of Satan actually meant. And according to this, the sigil is essentially the birthing in of something through a ritual, which is exactly what they're doing. They say here that the symbol is chalice-like, representing female anatomy, the birthing in of something, the opening of a portal. Wow. So, what else did I find? Well, I hope you're sitting down for this, because back here in Luciferianism, I told you about Venus. It's kind of how we started this discussion, right? Because they say here that Luciferianism is closely attached to Venus. Now, here's where things get interesting. Okay, so again, Venus is attached to Luciferianism. It says it right here, the planet Venus. Now watch this. Remember, Luciferianism goes all the way back to 1234 AD. But yet, this is Venus and its orbital cycle. And as you can see, it forms an 8-pointed star. Now, this goes all the way back to the beginnings of this channel. We were looking at this, weren't we? Now, not only does Venus form an 8-pointed star in its orbital path, it occurs on January 1st of every year, which is smack dab in the middle of the opening of these doorways. And this is where Venus, which is a morning star, Lucifer, appears in the night sky. And when we count, listen carefully, when we count a basic 3-year cycle, because look, it's got the years here on the graph. So we could start at 2013, go to 2014, 2015, and 2016. When you count a 3-year cycle, which is the most simplified form of this entire image, what does it form? You guessed it. Are you ready? It forms the exact symbol that I just showed you. Let's try that again. 2013. Let's zoom this up a little bit so you can see this. Again, this is on January 1st of each year where Venus appears. And of course, my drawing tool doesn't want to work today. But it essentially forms the exact thing. Now, this is unbelievable. The basic symbol is the orbital path of Venus. It's the most simplified form of the orbital path. In other words, it's a key. If you wanted to describe to somebody the orbital path of Venus, and you wanted to do it in such a way where you didn't have to draw this whole thing out, the simplest form would be the 3-year cycle, because then you could extrapolate the rest, correct? So let's see if we could draw it on this way. So 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. And there you see the symbol right there. Wow. You can't make this up. You can't stretch it. It is what it is, right? Now, I think that's about all I wanted to show you guys today. Let's go back into the chat. Get your thoughts about this. So a brand new sigil revealed. Crazy, right? All right, I'm in the chat, you guys. And I hope all that made sense. All right. Good morning, everybody. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and put them in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer those questions, you guys. Insane. So we have 2 parts of Satan's sigil confirmed in these openings of these doors. All right. Now, it'd be nice to get an explanation from the folks at the Vatican. I don't think we will. And guess what? We should be on the lookout for any other images and symbols that appear out of this. Say Norse rune, says John. Thank you. Thanks, Felix. What will the final sigil pattern be? Let's take a look at these other symbols here. So any one of these symbols could be appearing in different things, couldn't it? Look at this. Now, some of these just look like regular letters. Like this looks like a Z. That looks like a check mark almost. Some of them look like the letter E and the number 3. But whoa, that is spooky. This is like an all-seeing eye with a pyramid, inverted pyramid. And on and on. This looks like a cell being pierced by a needle almost, if I had to guess. Creepy stuff, you guys. It's a bottle of potion, says Mike. All right. Can't see you guys. A sword stabbing a human cell. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me too, Michael. Saturn symbol is the same logo for Alabama Electric Company. Mixture of runes and Arabic symbols, someone said. A cloud, maybe. Gene splicing. Son of the morning. Luciferianism. Yes, that's what it is. A jab, says Joni. Some of those symbols are ancient Paleo Hebrew, says Terry. Thanks, Hami. Thanks for the super chat. All right, you guys, that's what I wanted to show you today. That's about it. Share this video. And the word will get out about this. Now, the next sigil is set to open near Christmas. So in a couple more days, and then there'll be 3 additional sigils or doors opened after that. And so we'll stay on it, you guys. Crazy times. Now, what does all this mean? I believe that the Pope is signaling a portal opening. Okay. Lucifer's kingdom is established. The crowned serpent. Okay. And the crowned serpent is all about needles. Now, we did some research on this, looking at needles, hypodermic needles appearing in aerial views of prominent cities around the world. We found one in Paris. We found one in Washington, D.C. Washington Monument forms the tip of the needle. The Washington Mall forms the shaft of the needle, and the Capitol building forms the plunger. And back then, it sounded silly, didn't it? But now you're seeing that everything they want to do is to poke us and jab us with things. And it all started with Abraham Lincoln, the first needle president. That's when the hypodermic needle was invented, to basically give opium to the soldiers in the Civil War. And ever since then, America has had a fascination with needles. And now look where we are. The Ozempic Olympics. More needles. And consistent and constant vaccines. They're always poking us with something. And you can look at the needle as basically Satan's phallic symbol. It's what he uses to mingle himself with the seed of men and the seed of the woman. It's the only way he can do it is with a needle. So this has been going back a long time. And now you see why we are the needle nation. So don't get needled, right? It's the doorway. It's the gate. And this is what they're celebrating. The opening of the gate. All right, you guys, I guess I'll pop off of here. Much love. Take care.